This is a Fox News Alert. Good evening. Welcome to Washington. I'm Mike Emanuel in for Brett Baer. President Trump is making headlines tonight as his overseas trip wraps up. In a wide-ranging news conference, he took the North Korean side over his host, Japanese Prime Minister Shinzo Abe, and his own national security advisor, downplaying the significance of recent North Korean missile launches, saying the North Korean leader is just trying to get some attention. And he agreed with North Korean leader Kim Jong-un that former Vice President Joe Biden is a low IQ individual. Chief White House correspondent John Roberts is in Tokyo with the president. He leads off our coverage. Good evening, John.
Mike, good morning to you from Tokyo. President Trump and the Japanese Prime Minister have a close relationship, a real friendship, but on certain issues, even close friends sometimes disagree. And that disagreement was front and center as the president was welcomed to Japan for an official visit. It was a visit highlighted by pomp and ceremony as President Trump became the first international leader to meet with Japan's newly enthroned Emperor Naruhito. But it was also a visit marked by contrast over North Korea's recent launches of short-range ballistic missiles.
You're not bothered at all by the small missiles?
No, I'm not. I am personally not.
President Trump said he wasn't concerned by North Korea's actions, in a tweet calling them, quote, small weapons. At a news conference with Japan's Prime Minister Shinzo Abe, brushing aside any significance.
My people think it could have been a violation, as you know. I view it differently. I view it as a man, perhaps he wants to get attention, and perhaps not. Who knows? It doesn't matter.
The president's position stood in sharp contrast to his national security advisor, John Bolton, and the prime minister, both of whom said it was a clear provocation.
On the 9th of May, North Korea launched a short-range ballistic missile. This is violating the Security Council resolution.
In the same tweet in which he played down the launches, President Trump also quoted Kim Jong-un's dig at 2020 candidate Joe Biden, in which Kim called Biden a low IQ individual. Kim was mirroring language the president used about Biden in a tweet March 18th. The president asked if he was siding with a ruthless dictator over a former U.S. vice president.
Kim Jong-un made a statement that Joe Biden is a low IQ individual. He probably is, based on his record. I think I agree with him on that.
While President Trump and Abe didn't see eye to eye on North Korea's missile launches, the president does support Abe's offer to meet with Kim Jong-un without precondition to discuss the issue of Japanese citizens abducted by North Korea. For a second time, President Trump met with their families today.
Return my mother to Japan as soon as possible.
And the president is also open to Abe traveling to Iran next month to meet with President Rouhani, playing the role of liaison to possibly open a dialogue between the United States and Iran.
The prime minister has already spoken to me about that. And I do believe that Iran would like to talk, and if they'd like to talk, we'd like to talk also. We'll see what happens. Nobody wants to see terrible things happen, especially me.
And President Trump predicted that the United States and Japan will reach a new trade agreement. Certainly, Prime Minister Abe does not want to get involved in any of those tariffs against autos that are looming out there and would like to cut a deal. But the president predicted it wouldn't happen until August, until after July elections here in Japan, in which Prime Minister Abe hopes to strengthen his political hand and his ability to make a deal with the president. Mike?
John, speaking of trade, President Trump's also hoping to get his trade deal with Mexico and Canada through Congress. What's the state of play on that front?
Well, the state of relations between the president and Nancy Pelosi has a lot of people wondering what the fate of the USMCA will be. Some officials at the White House believe that the speaker will bring it to the House floor with as little fanfare as possible, but the president does believe she will bring it to a vote and it will pass. Listen here.
That's a deal that's gotten universal praise. Unions love it. Farmers love it. Manufacturers love it. You won't have companies leaving and going to Mexico and going to Canada and going like they were for many, many years. It's a great deal. I would imagine that Nancy Pelosi will approve that. I would think it would be very hard not to, but we'll see.
Democrats still have concerns about the enforcement mechanisms, but Canada is moving this week to ratify it. And if Canada and Mexico were to approve it, Democrats would probably have a very difficult time saying no. Mike?
John Roberts leading us off with the president in Tokyo. John, many thanks.